It's quite interesting to see how much corporate ball washing that the Superman movie is getting. I don't know who is trying to get in good with James Gunn and the Access Media or not, but the way that this poorly performed movie, okay, because at this point in time, we can essentially call it the flop that it is. I know that some people, it'll take a little bit longer for them to come around on, but now that it has come out of its fifth weekend at the box office, anyone who's wanted to see the movie has already seen the movie, and they're already just moved on to the next shiny coin rolling across the street. But now we're going to enter that very interesting point in time where people will be able to look back on the Superman film and go, oh god, that actually didn't make a lot of sense, and Superman really did get his ass kicked a lot, and Lex Luthor, man, he's kind of busted, because I don't, it's like he could have killed Superman any time, because this is a guy who can make pocket dimensions, he can clone Superman, and if he was really obsessed with killing Superman, why didn't he just make like multiple Ultraman? Like, he doesn't make any sense. And the most memorable part of this, the most memorable character coming out of it, of the Superman movie, was Mr. Terrific. It's almost like, James Gunn didn't deliver a good Superman film, but the shills are out in full force, okay? If not just for James Gunn himself, but for Warner Brothers, the dumbest company in all of entertainment. Warner Brothers becomes the first studio in history to set this box office record. Oh wow, stop me if you've heard this before. Access Media rag coming up with some stupid milestone, some stupid accolade to foist on some mainstream studio for some baffling reason. Okay. Warner Brothers has set a monumental box office record as a studio. Yeah, it's so monumental that nobody's heard about it before. With Weapons, okay, marking its latest popular release. Okay, opening on August 8th, the horror movie grossed $42 million on its opening weekend box office and became the latest movie in the studio to cross an important threshold. In addition to the great start, Krieger's new horror flick has gone viral on social media, receiving strong reactions from moviegoers. Now, we'll talk about this a little bit more tomorrow, because there's some interesting stuff. I haven't seen the movie, but I've heard a lot about it, and honestly, there's been a few movies that have come out this year, kind of Superman in and of itself, where you get these wide range of opinions from people who absolutely love a project to absolutely despise it with every fiber of their being. In regards to Weapons, I have heard nothing but great things about it. Like, it's just universal across the board. The most scathing review I've heard from somebody whose opinion I don't even really respect all that much, normally has dog shit taste on media. I didn't like a couple of directing choices, but other than that, the most contentious thing was whether or not you thought the tonal shift towards the end of the movie worked for you or not. But yeah, it hasn't really broken anybody's opinion on the movie. That could change, obviously. There's going to be some hot takes this week, I would imagine, on this as the movie continues to get more popular, because for as good of a box office hold as Superman has, I could imagine that this is going to be one of those films that ends up growing a la Sinners week after week because of a lack of competition between now and the beginning of October. Like, it's a desolate wasteland at the box office. We've looked at that over the past couple of weeks, and yeah, legitimately nothing is coming out. All right, Nobody 2, but okay, cool. You got a sequel to at any other point in time in history, a straight to DVD action flick? Like, okay, it'll probably do something, but I don't quite see it getting the same attention that Weapons has. Like I said, more on that tomorrow. Following this year's release of Sinners, Minecraft, F1, okay, Final Destination, Bloodlines, Superman, and Weapons, Warner Brothers has become the first studio in history to have 6 consecutive films earning more than $40 million at the opening box office. What a fucking useless metric that is. But yeah, that's the level of glazing that Superman and Warner Brothers is getting right now, and it's absolutely pathetic, because when you take a look at the numbers, cool, you made more than $40 million your opening weekend. What was the opening weekend? I even forget at this point in time. Like, it's just been so wild. Yeah, but yeah, $125 million opening weekend. Not bad at all. Not bad at all. Falling squarely, well, at one point in time you could see, there it is, it came back, squarely at the bottom third of the projection. So yeah, it's doing fine, but $579 million heading into your fifth week of release on a, $225 million budget, or is it 200 million? No. $225 million production budget. You're copping to what, 100, or what did we see? $125 million for marketing. Bring in your announced costs to 350, and you're going to struggle to hit $600 million before everything's all done and dusted. Like, it's a flop. I don't know what to tell you guys. Good opening weekend, incredible domestic holds, but you started your box office off at a 6 and you ended up keeping it at a 5 all the way to the end of your run. That's fantastic stuff. It's just, it's really not good enough. And that point is really going to get driven home next year with the release of Supergirl that is going to make a fraction of what this film is. And then, of course, Clayface. But at least that budget is kept relatively low. So if you end up making a couple $100 million on that, it'll end up looking amazing. I can imagine, you might hope, James Gunn might be hoping that Clayface ends up following a 2019 Joker-like situation where it just absolutely explodes in popularity because, oh, it's going to be a R-rated masterpiece, but you're also trying to co-opt that character into the DCU, but it's just all so goofy. But yes, going back to the flop that is Superman, I mean, just simply sizing it up with the rest of the competition, I was kind of shocked by, well, actually, Superman Returns in general. It right now, okay, like even failing to adjust for inflation, Superman Returns in 2006. God, it's been so long. It had the biggest production budget. Man, that was back at a point in time where people were actually transparent about their numbers. But yeah, there was so much hype about that film. And it only had an opening weekend of $52 million. Jeez. But if the commentary space was like it is now, back in 2006, back when YouTube first started, you would have people unironically touting, oh my god, look at that Superman Returns. Oh, we need to have more Bryan Singer Superman because it made $91 million more than 1978 Superman. Oh my god, its opening weekend crushed the competition. Look at that. Oh, who cares about Christopher Reeve? He only made $7.4 million opening weekend. Those are the type of stupid conversations that are going on right now between 2025 Superman and Man of Steel. Because yeah, if you properly adjust for inflation, $1978, yeah, you've got over $1 billion for the Richard Donner Superman. The quintessential Superman story still to this day. But now everybody's running around. You can see it from all of those different shill accounts that, oh, Superman now, oh, it's passed up. Man of Steel domestically, it's left it in the dust. It's the highest grossing superhero film of the year domestically, and it's the third highest grossing domestic film of 2025. It's an uproarious success until you take a look at that worldwide box office and you realize that, yep, it's going to fall behind, Man of Steel, adjusted for inflation, and it also falls behind Superman Returns and the original Superman by a lot, by a huge amount. I say it fairly confidently that I don't think it's going to hit $600 million. Because we talked about this briefly last week. There was a posting, what was it, on Amazon or something like that, for Amazon Prime was going to have Superman. You were going to be able to buy or rent your digital copy, I think sometime later this week was the tentative date. But now we've got confirmation after James Gunn, because apparently he made a comment, I guess I missed out on that, where he said, oh no, it's going to be much later than that. And well, Superman digital release date confirms it won't beat Man of Steel at the box office. Oh, now we're starting to see some chinks in the armor. Oh, now the thing is finally just going to have to go fail on digital. Now we can start to properly assess the failure that was Superman. Cornsweat and James Gunn's Superman has potentially revealed its release date, which might hint that the DCU film won't be able to beat Henry Cavill's Man of Steel. According to a tweet, it seems that the film will be digitally, I don't know why that is so difficult to say, released on August 26th. The movie will be available to rent or buy on Prime Video, Apple TV, and all other major OTT platforms soon. Oh, okay. 45 days after its theatrical release. That seems pretty right. The film is headed towards a digital release just 45 days after its theatrical debut, which could potentially hint that James Gunn and DCU might have given up. Maybe that's what that should be. Copy editor, please. Hopes of beating Henry Cavill, yes, and Zack Snyder's and Man of Steel. But it's funny. You see this headline: Superman, yes, won't beat Man of Steel. Now that we're finally far enough away from that mediocre release, $125 million, the soft international market, we can start to have more honest conversations. That, yeah, it didn't really perform that well at the box office. It's just, how much longer is it going to take before we can have some smart conversations about the actual plot and character work of the movie itself? Well, apparently it starts. I think James Gunn misunderstands the true nature of Superman. Oh wow, Polygon of all outlets, huh? That's interesting. Grant Morrison got it right. Really? Superman has existed for almost a century, yeah, so it can be hard to pin down exactly what defines him. Like all great fictional heroes, he means different things to different people depending on how and when they came to know him. However, also, like all the great characters, Superman maintains its core of existential meaning, a shining, immutable mythology like the purest, strongest alloy. Superman is strong. That's something we can all agree on. DC famously kept making him more powerful over the decades, piling up astonishing feats until there was no limit to what he could do. It can be tempting for storytellers to negate Superman's strength, typically through his one weakness of kryptonite, as a narrative shortcut. After all, to move the plot forward, you sometimes need to sideline your unstoppable hero, but ultimately Superman is always going to be the strongest guy in the room. Exactly, that is, yes, one of his many traits. And if you're a narrow-minded leftist, it's all about power, so of course you need to focus on the power of the guy, not the character of the guy. Of course, there's some exceptions. Yes, seeing Superman get thrashed by Doomsday in the iconic, yes, Death of Superman run, or in Batman vs. Spider-Man, Batman v Superman, talking about all these superheroes with all the similar sounding names. Anyways, All-Star Superman, yeah, that was supposed to be the inspiring aspect. This was supposed to be what James Gunn was using as adaptation inspiration. Leads directly into his godlike strength. The comic shows us that Superman is on the verge of death due to being overexposed to Earth's sun, but still capable of accomplishing heroic feats, including the 12 labors of Superman. By comparison, James Gunn's Superman shies away from this character's incredible strength. This is a Superman who loses his first fight at the start of the movie and regularly gets his ass beat. Gunn gets around this by making Superman fight a clone of himself. Yeah, of course, because that's awesome. Remember, Marvel is just, sloppy, tropey dreck, but we're going to do something different with the DCU. We're going to have the good guy fight a bad version of himself as the climactic battle. Never seen that before. Superman is also an alien, and this is where things can get somewhat tricky. In the Superman mythos, being alien doesn't just mean coming from another planet. It means being fundamentally different from human beings, and most importantly, superior to them. Superman is trapped between two worlds, representing his two sets of parents. Yes, Jor, go ahead and start your harem. El and Lara, his dead Kryptonian parents. Yes, you sent him to Earth. And Martha and Jonathan Kent, the two Kansas farmers who are apparently mentally retarded in James Gunn's version. He is both the last son of Krypton in a world that doesn't exist anymore, and the adopted son of Earth, a world that will always by its nature be alien to him. But this is core to Superman's identity, but it plays out differently depending on who's telling the story. The duality is central in Gunn's Superman. Yeah, of course. But he does fuck all. And compare that to All-Star Superman, where a dying Superman has a dreamlike conversation with his father, Jor-El. As Superman laments that he left one labor unfinished, his father answers, "Your work is done. You have shown them the face of the man of tomorrow. You have given them an ideal to aspire to, embodied their highest aspirations. They will race and stumble and fall and crawl and curse, and finally, they will join you in the sun, Kal-El." This is perhaps the best and most accurate description of the meaning of Superman ever put to words. Yeah, man, Superman is supposed to be aspirational. He's not supposed to be representative of an insecure 60-year-old hack who just can't get over the fact that a bunch of people said mean things online after his stupid tweets came out, so now he's just going to spend hundreds of millions of dollars to have CGI fucking monkeys take shots at his adversaries. Just an insecure hack that we're going to have to deal with for the next 10 years. Or maybe, like Superman, we're going to see a crack in his visage, and people can finally come around and ask important questions like, is James Gunn actually appropriate for Superman? Is he actually appropriate for leading the DCU? Because he's going to have to contend with this for the next couple of years, because the Batman 2 has just entered proper pre-production. It's another film that I'll believe it when I actually do see it, because for as much as you say, hey guys, we're going to start filming at the end of the year, I don't believe you. You say that the film has it's got a release date, October 1st, 2027. Well, we'll see on that one. But Matt Reeves and his take on Batman and Gotham and his rogues gallery, well, this is going to be a very interesting point of comparison to make, because I think I can confidently say Superman, at least for the announced projects that are out there right now for James Gunn's DCU, is probably going to be the high watermark at the box office. How is Batman 2 going to do? Because you remember, the Batman 1 back in 2022, it didn't make $1 billion. But it's also going to end up making more money than Superman at 700 and change. What's the Batman 2 going to do? Especially with people's last impression of the work that Reeves had done, as in the form of the Penguin. And if the Penguin's going to be a part of Batman 2, but apparently Robin is or isn't, because, well, James Gunn says that he isn't, okay? But James Gunn is the type of motherfucker that if he comes up to me and says good morning, I'm checking the time on my watch, because he is a perpetual and professional liar. And here's the thing, the completed script for Batman 2 has been turned in, but it's not not the final script, okay? Rewrite, the spot edits, any of that stuff done. Matt Reeves and Matt Tomlin rather, have turned in their script. James Gunn has gone over it. He said dismissively on the Superman red carpet, oh yeah, it's great, and then just moved on with his time. He's going to have to continue to wrestle with this shit, because Superman, here's the thing, man, if it was an uproarious success, if it ended up making $1 billion, you wouldn't have heard a fucking thing about Batman Part 2. But the fact that we haven't even got this thing out of the theaters yet, and we got the proper announcement from Warner Brothers that the Batman Part 2 is heading into pre-production 2 years down the line, they're once again hedging their bets. I said this earlier in the day. Warner Brothers is a dumb fucking company, one of the dumbest there is out there, and this just shows you once again that even though they can be dominating the box office, they could have all of the goodwill in the world, they could be heading into a very profitable next few years, they will still find new and interesting way to fuck up a sure thing. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.